All right. Welcome everybody back to Now That's a Show.
Episode 3?
Yeah, or 2? Episode 2. Episode 1. The first one we did was a pilot.
But I know, but as we go forward, are we ever going to count it? Like this is 2?
We'll see how it works out. We may have to update that.
Call in and let us know.
This one's about what your choice of automobile really says about you. Mm-hmm. And this episode, this discussion was born from many years ago. We've talked about like we believe we can do this pretty well, and that's
like most things.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of things we don't.
No, we don't
do well.
No,
I think people that
Except
know
vote,
us will
maybe vote.
Most people that know us are going to say that.
Maybe say the right things to the, to like a person you're in a relationship with. I'm not very good at that.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, so we feel like that you can describe pretty much the driver of a car without seeing the driver of the car based on not just their make and model, but maybe the characteristics of that automobile. I mean, be it bumper stickers or
wearing a mask if you're alone.
Yes, if you're by yourself.
That's how people can tell that this is current, this is fresh,
right?
This is live.
Well, in speaking of being current, I don't want to say fresh,
no.
But
or moist.
Speaking my gator, but.
Oh, wait, we do have a special thing at the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to reveal to the listening show or the viewing audience if you actually have a hickey or not.
You gotta wait till the COVID
You're
mask.
most likely going to have a rash.
A COVID mask here. But
you're at least going to have a rash or some like acne or something underneath that thing.
Maybe that's why I got it.
You ring it out at the end.
So we're gonna talk about cars, and we're gonna start out talking about cars from Boston. The cars that we had, and describing our cars over the years, that could probably tell you a little bit about us. But we're also the theme tonight. We're gonna have a little bit about politics, distinguishing between
like mail-in voting. Stay away from
or absentee ballots.
Absentee ballots, mail-in voting.
The difference between Republicans and Democrats, and you can typically tell
you don't need a driver's license to vote. So
why do you need
how they relate?
Do you need a voting license to drive?
So we're mail-in drive.
You can now.
That's like an Uber.
Yeah,
that's like an Uber thing.
So we'll talk about that. Then we'll talk about different car types, automobile types, and we'll describe what we think that driver is going to be like. Now we understand that this is stereotyping. It's not profiling. It's not discrimination. It's no racial component to it.
End up.
But
oh, by the way, the sign up the street,
mm-hmm.
It still says "End Racism Now." So is that an old sign, or did we fail? I mean, it's been a whole week.
Another one. I don't know.
Is that like a deaf child sign, like that's old? Is it
death? Oh, deaf child. Deaf.
You said deaf. You said it twice.
I thought you said deaf. Deaf.
Like an old deaf child sign. Shouldn't it be like deaf person?
Well, what I find funny.
What if they moved? Did they take the sign down?
I find funny is when you see.
Did they get to take the sign with them?
Is that their sign? That's a good question. But when you see a sign that says "slow children at play," I mean, who are they to say the kids are slow and that's kind of slow children at play? Should it be slow? Period. Children at play.
It should.
But it doesn't. There's no comma or a semicolon or period.
But if you have a fast child. They've got some issues too, apparently.
Fast children.
Giving them all kinds of drugs to slow them down, but you got slow children. What do? You don't speed them up. It's not like you're giving them like Red Bulls and stuff like that.
That's a good question.
How do you balance? What's the? I know this is a show about cars and everything, but how do you balance the speed of a child?
And who's to say what's the right speed?
I know. What if it's a slow person saying that the child
runs
is too fast? Or a fast person that's like, come on, let's go. Let's speed it up.
What if it's
you're slow.
What if it's
sign up quick?
A slow adult like slow adult, but they have a fast kid.
What if but now we could bring this back to cars. If you're a fast driver, I would say most kids are slow because for them to get out of the way of you driving fast, you see where I went with that?
Yeah, we may have to do a show on road signs. Road signs. But this was about cars.
All right,
this was about cars. And it happens to be
to the subject.
The presidential election year 2020, and I think tonight the Republican convention's happening or whatnot. So we do want to throw a little bit of political scheming into this a little bit, but it'll be fun. It's all fun.
It's all fun.
It's all
fun.
fun.
Call in. Call in.
Yeah, just open the flip phone. Yeah. No calls yet.
We didn't get any calls last.
So let's talk about first. You want to talk about our cars?
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, if we're gonna make all these comments about other people, we should probably lay it out there for
ourselves.
People
Yeah.
can say who we
Okay,
are.
that's fair.
I've been pretty lucky. I've had some interesting vehicles
Well, I've had interesting vehicles. I don't know if they're very good, but
the first car I guess I really drove was it was about a 1976 Chevy Nova. I was 14 years old, and my buddy and I, when he lived in a 2-story house, and when the people downstairs would leave, he knew where they kept their car keys, so we would drive.
So you were stealing a car,
kind of, yeah. But we brought it back, so nobody knew.
Safely.
It's very safe. Yeah. So we'll start there. But the actual first car that I had was I shared it with my sister. It was a 1984 Buick Skyhawk that we renamed it a Sky Chicken.
Wasn't that like a 2-door little thing?
No, it was a 4. No, it was worse. It was the 4-door edition.
Did it have the little luggage rack on the trunk? Didn't they have that? You know what I'm talking about?
No, there was no reason for it because you weren't going anywhere with people in this car. It was actually, I mean, it was a Buick. This was like that period of time where Buick, like all the GM cars were trying to like shrink themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a teeny tiny little car.
And to compete with the K car?
Yeah. And I completely smashed the thing up.
Mm.
I head-on collisioned with some person when I was on my way to school.
You weren't texting.
Yeah. But that actually then led to my second car, which was a Toyota Celica ST Coupe, 5-speed.
Did it have louvers?
No louvers, no roll-down windows, which you had to do with your left hand, which is pretty weird. But I didn't even know how to drive a standard when I got it. So I learned how to drive it like while I was out there by myself.
That's pretty
loving every minute of it.
Golly, my first car was I had 3 brothers. 3 of us were driving at the time. I mean, 3 boys.
Wait, at the same time in
I
the
have-
same car?
Yeah, we all shared
one
the
in the
same
wheel,
car.
one foot brake.
It was a 1980 Honda Civic station wagon.
Oh, so it had room to carry things.
Well, it was a Honda Civic though, and it was a green
You
Honda.
were smaller then, I'm assuming?
Green, yeah, I was a little bit smaller. But what I remember about it most was when my older brothers went off to college. I still had it, but the seats were getting torn and everything else. And my dad says one Saturday morning, he says, let's go get car seats for this thing. So we went around all these junkyards and all this stuff, couldn't find it. And I said, Dad, I tell you what, why don't we just go to Kmart and buy those pull-over seat covers? It just kind of hold together. And he never admitted it at the time, but he did not. He was like, pretty brilliant because we were looking all over the Atlanta area for seats that didn't fit the car. It saved a lot of money doing this. And
Is that the first time you were considered brilliant?
No, well, he didn't. I didn't get any credit for that at that point. But so we went to Kmart and like paid $15 for the front 2 bucket seats and pulled them. Now all they had though was it looked like I don't know. I guess it looked like a Mexican blanket. You know that kind of Mexican blanket that they wear like sometimes over their shoulder and like
crossing the board.
So it had that kind of material, but they fit perfect, kept the seat together. But it was known we
crazy
did
down in Atlanta.
but we called it Taco Bell seat covers is what it was called. But that thing was a stick shift, and we would pile in people in that thing. So it had 2 in the front, a bench in the back, and then a hatchback, and we packed people in like sardines. And that thing had
like a circus clown in a Volkswagen.
So that was my first one.
You got to when you actually got to Taco Bell, you just open all the doors and all these red
Like the Beatles.
Atlanta folk come out.
So I would say people would probably describe me driving by
marks on the backs of your legs, like when you get up from
the Mexican
from
seat
Wicker.
Oh yeah. It did actually. So I think about people describing me. If they were to say they look at that car, they probably say, "Well, that's a middle class kid with a bunch of brothers. They all had to share a car, and they didn't want to spend gas money." I mean, that's probably what it was because it was.
I don't think I've ever heard that term before.
So it was a very serviceable car.
Middle class boy didn't want to spend a lot of money on gas.
It definitely wasn't privileged. It was not privileged.
People wouldn't be marching about people like
no,
you, right?
It was just kind of no fun there.
Middle-aged kid, lives matter. That's way too many letters.
So let's talk now. Let's pivot, the political term, into a discussion about the different politics, political parties, Republican or Democrat here. And I did a little research on this. Guess who didn't do any research on this?
Me.
So did a little research on this to find out if there was really any studies or research.
I can phone a friend at any time.
Yeah. Did you charge it up?
Yes.
So look to see this, and one of these articles. I mean, it's got to be true. I pulled it off the internet earlier, and one of the articles talks about 11 key questions that you would ask to determine, based on vehicle type, whether they would vote Republican or Democrat.
I can see this.
So Jake, I'm going to pull these up, and I want to ask you.
Isn't it a good thing that I didn't do any research? What if we both found the same article online? I would be like, boom, 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 boom.
Notice that I didn't even think that was a
now I have
possibility.
to think.
So the first question is,
all right, let's see.
Is it an import?
Oh, import. I mean, I've had a lot of imports.
I didn't.
Is it an import?
Would a Republican or Democrat more likely drive an import?
Probably a Democrat.
Okay, well, we'll see.
When do we find the answer?
Right
away or at the end? Okay.
Is it a pickup truck?
That's all. I'm Republican.
Republican? All right. Is it a hatchback?
Democrat.
Well, I just told you the story. I had a hatchback.
I know, but you have brothers.
Maybe they're Democrat. Maybe they're not. Is it a minivan?
Minivan. Oh, that's kind of tough. It's probably more of a. The minivan's probably more of like the mom decision to get that, or I don't know. Maybe it's not. I mean, we have a minivan. It was kind of my decision, but. I'm gonna say Republican.
Okay. Stand by.
You know I got that one wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a Ford or GM vehicle? If it's a Ford or GM, is it most likely Republican or Democrat?
I would say Republican.
Why do you say that?
I know, because
why do you say that? I mean,
because first of all, General Motors is like 7 different brands. It's not actually 7. It used to be 7, but now it's. So if you're Chevrolet, you might be
Chevy,
more,
Buick.
No, Chevy.
Chevy, Buick, GMC.
Chevy could be more Democrat, but Cadillac or Buick could be more Republican. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. Ford is. I don't know. I don't know why it still exists, honestly, but
Lincoln.
But you didn't say Lincoln.
But that's
Lincoln
part of Ford.
Would be more Republican.
Part of Ford.
No, it's not.
Yeah, Ford.
I know, but it's still people buy by the brand and all that stuff.
So you're not. You're.
No. What was my answer? I forget. It was like a second ago.
You said Republican.
Republican. Yeah.
Is it a sedan or coupe? If it's a coupe or a sedan, is it more likely Democrat owner or Republican owner?
I would say sedan, Republican, coupe, Democrat.
Well, let's just put it this way. This question
you're
actually is
asking
it
me-
more of a car,
you're giving me two
more of
options
a,
and
you know,
asking
it's
me
the
for
same.
one.
So think of a passenger vehicle versus a SUV or a pickup truck or a van.
Oh, so you're lumping in sedan and
Two-
coupe
two-
as one thing?
Yeah, well, 4-door, 2-door.
I would say Democrat.
Why is that?
Because
Are they
it's a little
shorter?
bit more vanilla. Like
They're not shorter to get in the car now?
Well, some are shorter, some are taller.
All right. If it's a German brand, would it be either Republican or Democrat? And German brand would be
I always say
Audi,
Democrat.
BMW, Porsche,
It's
Volkswagen.
kind of. I would say it's Democrat. It's more
Mercedes.
socialism and like, oh, we want to be like Europe. I'm gonna get a German car.
Okay. Is it a convertible? If it's a convertible, is it Republican or Democrat?
Yeah, Republican.
It's about convertibles, though. People that drive their convertibles, they put top down, they put that little hat on. What's the hat for?
I saw someone driving down the highway yesterday. There was a person in the back seat. This was a Ford Mustang. The person in the back seat, it's almost like vehicular waterboarding. They're just like
Was it raining or?
no, but it's like if you're sitting up front, you get the windshield that comes to here. Mm-hmm. If you're the person in the back seat, you're getting hit with debris.
So imagine the person like you're on the highway, and that person that always washes their windshield. And it's flying back on you.
Yeah, that's like
you hope it's washing the windshield.
Yeah.
You hope that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in the back seat of that car and you have sunglasses on, you're like.
Yeah. But I want to get back to the hat thing. Why is it? Because there's people around here that go, they're Saturday and they wear their gloves and then they put that hat on. The hat looks like a New York cab driver hat. I'm like, so I said that to somebody and they said, well, they don't want their hair to get messed up. Well, okay, two problems there. You wear a hat, you get hat hair.
Yeah, there's no getting around
right?
that. Unless you don't have hair.
Well, I mean, hat hair right here. And you wear a hat.
Neck.
Or how's that thing not blow out? I mean, you run the risk of that thing blowing out, and then hitting the person in the back row of the car behind you.
Yeah, right off the windshield.
Yeah. See what I did there?
You did.
All right. Is it a new car purchase? If it's a new car versus a used,
Republican. Yeah,
all right. Is it an eco or smart car?
Democrat.
Democrat. All right. You ready for the results here?
Yeah, but are you going to remember my answers?
Yeah.
All right, because I'm going to try to pretend, if I got it wrong, I'm going to try to convince you that I said it right.
So the import, you said Democrat.
Okay.
And you were right. So, so based on the study, people that buy an import, a Democrat 70% more likely to buy an import than a Republican. Is it a pickup truck? You said Republican.
Yes.
By a 3-to-1 margin, Republicans are more likely to buy a pickup truck. Hatchback, you said Democrat.
I did.
And the answer to that is
yes, 3 for 3.
80% more likely if you're Democrat to buy a hatchback. 80%.
Because they're all about I'm going to try to get more for my.
But why wouldn't you buy like a big passenger van?
Huh? Because they can't afford it because they're Democrat.
Is it a minivan? I believe you said.
I think I said Republican.
I think you did. Yeah. Now, this might surprise you. But a minivan is 50-50. 50 Republican. So there's no distinction. There's no distinction between. Now, this one here, this is a plea to everyone. If we can get along about minivans, shouldn't we be able to get along and collaborate on anything?
Get along when it's half and half. There's no getting along there.
Can't we just say, okay, look, let's just treat this like the minivan. We're just gonna either agree to disagree.
That's crossing aisles.
Just like okay, yeah.
That's nonpartisan.
Yeah. I think that's.
I bet if you broke that down by the make of the minivan, then you'd start to see a difference. Chrysler probably would go Democrat. But it's weird because the import is probably more Republican.
You think so?
I would think so, yeah.
Is that because
because there aren't a lot of US made minivans. You got Chrysler.
Ford
Chevy doesn't even make one anymore.
They don't?
I don't even think they do.
Oh.
You had the last one.
Here's a story about this.
Let's segue into
So I had a 2002 Windstar, Ford Windstar. It was actually pretty nice. It was practical. But I was going to sell it instead of trading it in. Going to sell it personal sale. And
who's going to take over?
And
nobody's going to take advantage of Chris.
Jake, what was your suggestion that said it would sell immediately if I did one thing?
I said if you put ladders on the top, that it would sell.
If I put ladders on the top.
Yep.
I didn't do it. I sold it, but I could have sold it faster. But anyway, next question. Is it a Ford or GM?
I'm independent to buy it.
Is it a Ford or GM vehicle? You said...
I forget here. I think I said Democrat. Did I?
You would be incorrect.
Yeah, but I also gave a pretty good...
2/3 more possible that it's a Republican. Democrat. To me, though, that goes
it's
with...
It's a Buy American.
Well, if you look at so the import thing versus that was sedan or coupe, meaning passenger vehicle versus a pickup truck, van, SUV. Mm-hmm. I believe you said Democrat.
I think I said Republican. Did I?
Well, let's see what they
whatever
say.
the answer is probably what I said.
Democrat.
Yeah, I said Democrat.
Democrats 50% more likely to buy a sedan or coupe.
How is that different than the
No, it's not saying 50% of sedans are coupes or sedan. I mean, 50% of sedans or coupes are Democrats. It's saying they're 50% more likely to buy one. So you think about the Republicans buying more.
Like?
They're buying more. 50% of all sedans and coupes. No, I'm sorry. 50% more likely.
This is starting to not be funny.
Is it a German brand?
I said Democrat because it's socialism.
Well, surprisingly, it depends on the make.
Oh, fuck.
It does depend on the make. It depends. So Mercedes.
Next.
Mercedes and Porsche, Republican. BMW and Volkswagen.
Oh, Volkswagen? Volkswagen is probably like 103%.
Is it a convertible? You said.
Wait, what about
Audi?
Wait, you didn't even ask about like Japanese cars. I mean,
well, we didn't hear.
What percentage is Subarus, for God's sake? What's the highest number you can have? 103%? 3% margin of error? That's later on? Once again, I did not come prepared, so I don't know what even to expect. I'm like you guys.
Convertible, you said Republican.
I said Republican.
And that is correct. 69%. My birth year. 69% more likely than a Democrat. If it's a new car purchase, you said...
I said Republican.
You did? You did say Republican?
You remember that?
37% to 30%.
Oh, now we're just going by color?
Well, the red is the Republican. Republican is the Democrat.
Why is Democrat black?
It's not. It's blue.
Oh, it looks black from here.
And finally, is it an eco or smart car?
Democrat. Come on.
By 110%.
110.
I don't know.
Easily.
I don't know what the percentage is, but it's off the charts. So there's some key questions. Now, with that,
can you hook your smartphone up to a smart car? Probably, right?
I don't think you can. There's not enough room.
There's no room. Yeah, it has to sit outside like a Starsky and Hutch light up on the top of the car.
I'd love to get one of those. And what did they plug that into? They didn't have his.
I know, like all of a sudden they're just like, boom. Where was the thing? Like sitting in between his thighs on the. All of a sudden there's like an emergency,
and I
would have to like get out of the car, go like rummage under a seat or something.
They didn't have cup holders.
Like, whoa!
There were no cup holders, so they didn't have like sitting in a cup holder charger. There was no cigarette lighter adapter charger. Now they had cigarette lighter, but nobody had back then. They had the adapter to charge it up. So this is that might be a show.
That's a show right there.
That's
seriously. Where were they keeping that thing? I think the between the thighs is better. Yeah, I think Starsky would reach between Hutch's thighs, grab the light, and bring it up over the top.
Who always drove? Did Starsky always drive?
Which one was which? Oh, Starsky.
Starsky was the black hair guy, and the Hutch was the blonde.
Yeah. They always wear the same clothes too. Same as like Dukes of Hazzard.
The leisure suits. Yeah. Well, so we had additional questions after looking at that.
Still thinking about the last question.
After looking at the survey that was out there online, I said, there's some other factors that you can look at. I think that would really kind of distinguish.
Do you think anybody that's watching the show was actually included in the survey? They're like, I was on that. That's not right. There's no way. They tainted the question.
It was a mail-in survey.
Yeah, mail-in.
So our additional question, and these are no particular
maybe
order.
Some of the answers are, maybe some of the things haven't even been counted. Maybe some of those percentages, like the minivan thing, maybe that's not even conclusive yet. They might still have weeks of
maybe
ballots
there's boxes of ballots sitting in the closet. Maybe there's hanging chads. Anyway, so here's some of the questions.
All right.
One of the things that I would think is like, are there bumper stickers? If there's bumper stickers, and I'm talking about like one, but if you have a lot of bumper stickers or magnet, things on it, I'm gonna say that's Democrat.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
And also,
especially if there's like that chalk paint or like written on it like Kelsey 2020.
Oh, you mean like the shoe polish?
Yeah. Come on.
That's on there forever?
Yeah. Seriously.
Well, one thing is, this reminds me of the stickers that are on the window, right? So you see stickers. And then the ones with the family, like it has the mom, the dad, the kids, and then the dog and all that. Well, and I think it was Chappelle. Dave Chappelle had a bit one time where this lady rolls up onto an accident like outside of her neighborhood, and so they got the road blocked off and everything. She peeks around. She goes, "Oh my God, that's my son's car!" And the police officer stops her and says, "You can't go in there, ma'am." And she goes, "Yeah, but it looks like my son's car and everything else." Well, he goes back to the car and he peels off one of the stickers of the children and gives it back to her and goes, "You won't be needing this anymore." That's not funny, but funny.
There's always a soccer ball, too. There's never like a rugby team. No. There's never any of that. It's always like, oh, it's a soccer ball.
Yeah, you're not allowed to play any of those sports now.
Yeah.
So bumpers. So we agree that
the other thing is
Democrat, but we don't know. This is just our hypothesis.
The other thing is, the more kids, the more cats. Do you notice that?
Each kid has to have their own cat.
Yeah, they all have their own.
They all bring one home.
Yeah.
All right, another question here. Is the car dirty? For example, do the windows have layers of orange or brown smoke film covering them? So you drive by cars and you see like it looks like they're smokers because the windows in the car. Republican or Democrat?
I think Democrats keep dirtier cars. That's my thing.
I think so too. I think I agree. I agree, Skip.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Skip, wait. What was the game show that he'd say? I agree. Match game. No. Was it? Yeah. Gene Wright. Next question was, are there Beanie Babies or any type of plush toys up in the rear window? Remember, speaking of Beanie Babies, remember when that was huge? Back in like the mid-90s? McDonald's Happy Meals would give, as their toy, they'd give a mini Beanie Baby. And all these people would go, literally, they would go to McDonald's and they would buy like 20 Happy Meals and throw the food away and keep that and put it in their windowsill.
I don't know. I think seeing the people that were doing that, they were just using that as the excuse. Now, they did get a lot of Diet Coke. A lot of Diet Coke flowing through those little fountain things. But I think they were just using that as the... I think they were
just eating the Happy Meal.
They were eating the Beanie Babies.
And oh, bonus, I can put this in my back window. Yeah, because
there'd be Beanie Babies everywhere if that was the case.
So you said Democrats, you think?
Oh, yeah, all day long.
I would tend to agree.
Gene. Are we going to get answers to these later?
No, these are just questions that I think we should ask and that would help kind of distinguish.
Okay. What's the next one? Looking forward to it.
The next one is, are there a lot of papers in the front window dash? Like, especially see like vans that got... there's like a lot of paper stuff up in there.
It's not that hard to keep your car clean.
Yeah, but
it's pretty small.
But I think we may disagree on this one.
You think that's Republican?
I do. I do, and I'll tell you why.
They're keeping receipts so they can write it
I
off.
tell you, it's a write-off.
It's a write-off, Jerry.
I think that a lot of these cars, you see that? It's usually like a work van or something like that, and they're just throwing stuff up in there.
Well, you didn't say
and like
work
you'll see
van.
like that's the visual I get.
Like a work minivan with ladders on top?
Or in some cases. Or like
Sprinter van.
Or like, speaking of work vans,
Mm-hmm.
I saw this today. Why is it that either they're doing one of two things wrong? Either the van manufacturers are wrong.
You're talking about the car.
Yes. Or van manufacturers got it wrong, or the carpet manufacturers got it wrong. Have you ever seen carpet being transported that's not sticking out of the back of a van?
No.
So somebody should say, you know what, hey guys, look, they should get the van people should get with the carpet people and say, okay, let's can we cut the carpet to a distance that'll fit in the van? Or should the van manufacturer say, okay, we'll just make a carpet line? Why is it always sticking out and then it's just tied with like some duct tape to keep the doors somewhat closed?
Some thin bungee cords.
I mean,
they're pretty strong, but
I just never understand. So
there's a lot
when
of
those doors are open in the
exposed
back, is the light, the cargo light on, and that's burning the battery? So
it's not good for the environment.
I think in this case, it's probably more Republican. It's like working class, and I'm not saying there aren't working class Democrats, but I talk about.
That's what it sounds like.
Well, that's not what I'm saying.
That's why you had to say it's not like. Anytime you say it's
no, because I just saw a phone light up. One of the phones lit up.
Anytime you say don't take this the wrong way.
Yeah.
Or
can I be honest with you?
It doesn't. This is going to sound horrible. However, it is horrible. So let's go to the next one.
I hope you're not offended. Blah blah blah.
I am so offended.
Does it have a "My child is an honor student at blank blank blank"?
I mean, it's the paper version of a trophy. Who doesn't make that honor roll? I mean, there are kids that don't make it, right?
I don't know anymore. I think they all make it now. I think they all have to make it now.
I mean, what happens with like this online stuff at home?
I think
parents every day give them like little like, hey, my child did the greatest thing up in our guest room.
You know, like if you type congrats or congratulations in Facebook, it just has all the. I think that's probably what they get. Anyhow, I mean, so do you think Republican or Democrat?
I think it's probably Republican.
I'm gonna disagree.
Counterpoint. Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna say it's more Democrat than that because that's the trophy.
That is a trophy thing. I can see that. But I guess all I'm saying is that children of Republicans would be more
likely to be on honor roll.
More likely to be.
I don't know about that. But I'm not
because the parents are academicians
from academia. I don't know if that's right. I think Democrats would be more apt to put that.
All right. Let me put it this way.
How about this? We can agree to disagree. Can't we all get along?
Okay, but how about this? The point is, you're talking about putting the sticker on the vehicle.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little bit more. I can see that as being more democratic as opposed to
receiving it
showing up in the junk drawer when you finally move after.
Yeah, well, these are cards that have these on there.
Right.
All right. Now this one's tied. This next one's tied to it.
Okay, let's go
and see how you do here, because you didn't do that well there.
I really didn't, but I think the sticker in the drawer brought me back.
Does it have "My child beat up your honor roll student"? This is a no-brainer.
That's Republican. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
I agree.
That's most of those are seen out on. Those things are typically covered with a little bit of like dirt road dust,
mud,
on the back of a Jeep or a pickup truck. Yep. Which, if you go back to the last segment, would have been Republican. So there we go. You don't see it on minivans.
No,
not at all.
Is the driver eating a meal from a bowl or plate while driving? Now, I can tell you right now, I kid you not, I'm driving. This is Atlanta traffic years ago, and I saw this woman driving in Atlanta highway traffic, and she must have been either big up here or big down here, but she had a styrofoam like
Yeti?
meal, like a meal, plastic styrofoam to go thing, and she was driving while just eating like that. I've seen more of that, but not to that extreme. That was extreme. But if the driver's eating a meal from a bowl or plate while driving, Republicans
as this show rolls on, are we going to be? There's going to be a lot more of that, isn't there? We're going to get ourselves into trouble. We are going to be stereotyping.
Well, wait a minute. I'm talking about political parties here. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about any.
Well, it's Democrat.
Oh. Yes, indeed. I would agree with you. Now, I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to say I have Democrat friends, I have Republican friends. I'm not going to say it.
Who are your Democrat friends?
I got some Democrat friends.
You do?
Yeah. I'm not naming names yet. But what about Republican friends? I'm neither. I'm a Bernie voter. Are there several ladders on the roof? If there's several ladders on the roof, are they Republican or Democrat?
Is that more like are they legal or are they illegal?
Well, it's funny you say that. My answer to that would be neither. Neither party. Because I don't think that for the most part they care about the political parties. You're going to leave it alone? You're going to leave that one alone?
Only because I don't want to say what I'm going to say, what I want to say.
Yeah, that's because we're politically correct.
Right. I mean, we're on show like 2A. We're gonna define the show right there, right then with that question. So
jump the shark in the episode.
Yeah, we're gonna.
The final additional question that we came up with, at least on this slide, is a mattress set poorly tied to the roof?
Well, all right, hold on a second. So what's better, the rope or the arm? Because I have seen people holding down a mattress on a box spring down the highway with their arm. The front of the mattress is bent back
because of the wind. So here's my question: should the mattress be on top of the box spring, or should the box spring down? I think you put the mattress on first and the box spring on second. That way it keeps it more stable. If you put the box spring down, sure, it's flat, it's perfect. And then they put the mattress on top, that's when it goes.
Where did they get the mattress from?
Is it a used mattress?
I'm thinking they found this thing on the side of the road.
I'm not getting a used mattress. No.
There's no way that there's a mattress store selling these things and just letting people drive away with them. They're wind sales.
But that's not the problem in the mattress store. It's not their problem, is it?
I mean,
it shouldn't be.
Today's
but it shouldn't be.
It is.
If somebody's
it isn't. If they're dumb enough, you're going to drive home with that? Yeah.
Let's think about this. Since this is the last additional question, let's put it all back together. Let's think about what indicators we've had before on who drives what and everything else based on political party. So if you're having to tie it to the roof, that means what?
What if you're in a smart car?
That's what I'm saying. If you're having to tie that stuff to a roof, you don't have a truck.
Right. So you're not Republican. You don't have Republican friends that you can say you'll get that. So you're Democrat.
That is that's critical thinking right there.
That's
critical thinking.
What they call it
inductive reasoning.
Inductive reasoning. Thank you. I started with I said
no.
I got you started with
it's inductive reasoning. Yeah.
Inductive reasoning.
Actually, it's convergent thinking because you're thinking about all the different things and you're bringing it together. But inductive reasoning can fit there too. Okay. So you may have other questions. If you have other questions you think should be considered, it's star. Now that's a show.
SHB.
Star NT.
No, SHB.
State highway. Yeah. Sure.
Tell them.
Yeah.
Don't tell us. Okay, what's
So now, so these are
right,
there's some outcomes here, right? Okay, so this is an amalgam, if you will, of different studies that I saw and kind of put together. And this is not 2020. I think it was 2018. But they found
If I could give anything to go back to 2018. I started thinking about this, right?
Mhm.
If I had the choice to go back in time or forward in time based on all that's going on with COVID, what would I do? And I'm thinking I would go back.
And you would stop.
I would do a lot of different things.
How far back would you go?
I probably would go back to March of 2019. And I would put everything I own into a Swiss bank account and move to Belize.
Could you?
And no one would know that was where I was.
So
Or
Belize.
Montana.
I'm sure Belize has cases, though. Montana has cases. Well, anyway, I'm sorry to hear that.
Sorry.
But
what would you do? You go backwards or forward? Well, you don't really care. Nothing ever affects you.
whatever.
You're like even Steven. So
I lose $20. I find $20.
all right. So
Elaine's up. George is down. All right. So the results of this were the top 5 cars of Republicans and Democrats, and in no particular order of importance here. Just got it from the list before.
What are you worried about? Somebody fact
No,
checking
I
us?
don't care. But Republican, these are. I don't think these are like 1 through 5, but
Right.
it's. But Ford Mustang.
I can see
There's that Ford thing again, right?
Yeah.
Right. And maybe a convertible in there because they like the
Throw
convertibles.
someone in the back seat.
Yeah. And so
Get
let's see
waterboarded.
what's. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
The Audi A8,
Ooh, that's a nice car.
German luxury, German Audi, BMW, Audi, Porsche, and
As opposed
Mercedes.
to the Volkswagen on the other side.
right. Mercedes GL, the G class.
Mhm.
There's like several G classes, I suppose. The Ford Expedition, Ford again.
You sent one of those.
I did. I thought that was a great car, by the way.
So did I.
That was a great
Some
vehicle.
fun in that car.
We did. I'm sure you did. I was the one who was always driving. Country concerts, I'd be a designated driver. Big Ford Expedition, we put 10 people in that thing?
Yeah.
Then the Ford F-150, the pickup truck.
Okay.
That stands
They're
reason.
kind of boring. You got to look at that list, though. They're kind of boring.
What's funny, though, is,
Very
let me see,
plain.
2 of these I've owned, right? Well, I had an F-250,
Right.
but, yeah, pickup truck. Now, Democrat.
A little boring.
Here, what do you, just throw anything.
I mean, you got to
at
put a Volkswagen. You got to put a Subaru. You got to put any of these freaking Prius and electric.
Prius. If you had more than one Prius, would it be? Hey, my Prius.
Well, first of all, no one would ever have to, because you'd be like,
I think I
the
know
hell did I
people
do?
with 2.
"What?
Yeah.
The person had to? Or
No,
the 2 people had one.
They each had no.
Yeah.
They
What?
each had one, and if I recall, they're still around here, and I think one of them
Are they
still
watching
has
tonight?
I think one
Call
of them.
in if you're the 2 Prius people.
I think one of them still has a Gore Lieberman sticker on it.
Lieberman.
So anyway, let's see what. So the Honda Civic Hybrid. That's eco car.
Bad car.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Honda guy.
The Volvo V60.
Oh.
That's the sedan.
Yeah.
The foreign. See, foreign again.
Yeah, but
right?
Sweden.
We want to be a little more like Sweden.
Mm.
The Nissan Leaf. Now this is battery only. If I
Yes,
can't
it
recall.
is.
If I do recall. Now you can get 150 to 200 miles on a charger. Where are you going? This is I'm going to the Cheats and getting a pop. That's for you, Matt Dorsey. But a pop. That's what they say there. Yeah. Where are you? What?
I know.
What do you do?
I know, but think about it. Nowadays, nobody's ever going to work again in an office.
Yeah, but if
you might as well. It's like a glorified golf cart.
If you're traveling, let's say you're going from.
They're not though.
You're going on a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour.
There's no 3-hour tour for these people. You know why? Because they're like, oh, there's going to be traffic. I don't want to go. There's traffic.
What do you charge up though? Let's say it's a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. And you gotta go 180 miles.
To this crap.
Think about from here to the coast.
Right.
For those that don't know, from North Carolina, Central North Carolina to the coast takes 2.5, 3 hours. But
they're worried about their carbon footprint. These people are going to Sheetz and back. They're going to Sheetz
to get their vape pens.
They're not
which use batteries, which
they're going to Whole Foods.
Oh, all right. So the Leaf, I don't think I've ever. I mean, I can see if you're doing that though. If you're just doing that, why don't you get a scooter? Oh, the antiquing you can't put, but you can't put anything antiques in a Leaf. You have to call your Republican friend with the pickup truck.
Yeah, they can't put a bumper sticker on the back of their Uber.
Yeah. True. Acura TLX. That's just a little sedan.
That surprises me.
Well,
this is surprising.
It's not the NSX, not the sports car.
I know, but this is this is a pretty sporty car, though. It's first of all, it's paying more for a Honda Accord.
Right. Well, but don't Democrats tend to pay more for stuff?
No,
not their own stuff. Yes, that's right. All right.
So maybe there was a deal. Maybe there was like some sort of a
compromise
government program or something that they were allowed to catch into. I'm surprised about that one.
Cash for clunkers. Remember that one? Yeah. And finally, the Ford Fiesta. Ford Fiesta.
Oh.
Now,
where's the Juke? No, what is it? The Zuzu.
No, I know. No, it's the Nissan Juke, but it's the Cube.
Yeah, dude, I can give you another whole list of.
Yeah, well, this is kind of like I said. This is just some an amalgam of
different things. There no Subaru Outback station wagon?
The funniest part about this, though, is the Ford Fiesta. It's so popular, right? Mm-hmm. That they discontinued it after last year's model. So I don't know if it was a good car or whatever, but that's one that
seriously we could come up with right now. We can come up with 5 other cars that are better than these. I mean, the Volvo,
Subaru,
the Nissan, I can see. The entire Subaru lineup, right?
That's it. That's all. Subaru, of course, and Prius. I don't know why. I'm surprised that's not like top 5.
I think it's funny how all right. Let me ask you this: there's like 3 different Prius models, right? There's the plug-in. There's all these things. Do they have a problem with each other? They're like,
they're not compatible. Oh yeah, they're not a full spectrum.
You're just a partial hybrid. You're like the people that are full electric. What about Tesla?
Now that you mention that I did see I did go to a CBD/hemp oil store. Back issues, by the way. In trying to figure out the difference between what full spectrum, partial spectrum, all that stuff is, and the people in there. The people that work there were like 3 people that worked there, and I was just asking them, look, here's my issue. I got sciatica, my back's hurt, blah, blah, blah. And they all gave me 3 different answers to the questions, all standing there, and there was like an argument going on with the full spectrum. I think the full spectrum means that you actually get high off of it. That wasn't the goal. The goal was, and so it's the reason I bring that up is because it's the same thing you're talking about. Yeah. Like, within the pre-I community, is there somebody that says, "Oh, they're not"?
You only got the hybrid. Yeah. You didn't get the full electric.
I think there's probably a.
See now, if you say Tesla, I would put Tesla on.
Tesla's now an up and comer. They did have that in the article.
I would put them potentially on the Republican side.
Actually, Tesla's an up and comer on the Democrat side. But again, internet.
Damn internet.
Probably written by a.
Do you ever go overseas?
Yeah.
You see cars over there that
Yeah.
you've never actually seen before?
Never seen.
It's like seeing like dinosaurs.
And it's got like Ford name on it. You're like, what the heck is
like,
that?
what the hell is that thing?
Yeah.
I did look that up a little bit today, and the reason is because those cars don't meet the safety standards of the U.S. cars.
But don't we want to be more like Europe?
I mean, every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
So here's a couple other things. Now these are visual.
Do you know why? When you go to like Germany or something like that they drive on the opposite side.
Germany doesn't.
Yeah, they do. No. The
England.
Autobahn?
All the UK based ones, yeah. Autobahn
You know
is
why?
like. Why does like England drive on the other side?
Do you know why they drive on the side? Because way back and this is good for like when you're out with friends. So way back when they used to have like jousts and stuff and they would ride on horses, then I don't know, I'm not very good with history and stuff, but one of
Right-handers?
they would, some people would go with like the joust on the left and the sword on the right. Well, it was like Napoleon or somebody like that.
He wouldn't
like,
joust. He couldn't get up on the horse.
He's like, no, I'm going to go the opposite. So he did the opposite just to be kind of a
jerk.
dick, I guess. And so that's why those countries still maintain that the way that you pass on the opposite side because of the way that they would hold their joust versus their shield.
So what do they do now? Like when we used to be able to go to those little medieval games thing where they feed you and you watch the thing. Do they have rules on that?
I would never go to something like that. So I don't know.
I haven't been to that. I've been to the Dixie Stampede. Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This set, we got a few photos here, and these photos were actually taken today while I was out and about. So I want...
You didn't get in trouble for that?
No, I was at a traffic light. I was sitting
Did you
still.
see any like cops shooting people or anybody?
No, didn't see
any
any.
bad arrests or something? Riots?
I was bored because I wasn't going to be like texting, so I said I'm going to take some pictures, and I'd see these things. These were all within an hour today, and I thought, well, that would be interesting to talk about. Okay. Now one of these,
I haven't seen them.
One of these though, you're going to probably get offended by because you have one of them, and we're going to kind of make fun of your community.
I have one of them.
Just wait.
All right.
Just wait.
My community. My community.
Oh, first of all, I'm sorry. These aren't pictures yet.
Oh.
These aren't pictures yet. This is just the list. We'll get to the pictures next.
Cool.
So this is a list. The smart car. So anybody you see driving a smart car, just describe him, her, shim, they, z to me.
I've never really understood this thing because it's not like it gets very good gas mileage. It's ridiculous looking. Your head is like right on the back window. I just don't understand the car. Like what?
So what kind of person is buying that?
The attention that you're getting as somebody that buys a smart car is like feel sorry for me and envy me at the same time. Envy my sorrow. I
believe that first of all, the name. I think I think the manufacturers of it are laughing their asses off. They're sitting there going and saying, "We called it the smart car, but it's not very smart because it's not very smart." You're in like a little box, basically. You get hit, you're gone, right? It reminds me of in the 80s when they had the Yugo car. You know why they call it Yugo?
What?
A lot of people say it's because it was manufactured in Yugoslavia, blah, blah, blah. No. Those people that say, you get in a crash and you go.
Yes.
I mean, that's just, so my thoughts on the owner.
It's actually very safe for the size of the car.
Yeah, but you're against anything. You get hit, dude, you got nothing.
I know, but if you think about it too, though, if you're that small, the chances of you getting hit are less.
It's like the little
if
the
your
little
car is
5'5" pump returner that can't get
right,
can't
like if
get
your
in.
car is only a third of the size of a regular car,
It's
does
hard
that
to
make it 67% safer? Because like you missed them and do it like that.
Otherwise, it would have hit.
It would have been like
the bump, the trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think smart car. I think the smart car people are just like, hey, look at me. Couldn't afford the Prius, but I'm gonna go with the smart car. Yeah.
Dude, we get like 30 miles per gallon too. It's stupid.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's stupid.
How about
Why else would you buy that car?
We talked a bit about this, the Prius or the Leaf, right? And you mentioned that we don't want to, I was going to say beat a dead horse, but that would offend people of the equine community. But the Prius or Leaf, we've talked about that. Like I said on the Leaf.
Those cars right now are probably like, that's the thing to buy right now because nobody's going anywhere. You might as well just have a car that you plug in every once in a while.
I did have a, this was several years ago.
Use the battery off my little weed whacker thing.
This had to be I must say, 12 years ago. And I was getting fuel at a gas station. I had a diesel. I had a diesel truck.
That's why you said
250.
fuel?
Yeah, because it wasn't gasoline.
Right,
it was
fuel.
It was diesel. And so I'm on the other side, adjacent to me, was this lady getting a Prius filled up. And I was minding my own business, and she says, you know that thing emits toxic fumes.
Did you have it running while you were
No, I
filling
did
it
not.
up?
Did not.
You should have.
And I just kind of looked at her and said, I'm sorry. She tells me, she goes, yeah, that thing's a diesel's just dirty, blah, blah, blah. Which, by the way, it was clean diesel. Clean
Did you just
diesel.
punch her?
No, I didn't. And I let her go on a rant, and I said to her, I said, do you know what powers your car? She goes, yeah, I have a battery, hybrid, blah, blah, blah. I said, do you know what those batteries are made of? She said, no. I said, well, they're made of phosphorus. Go to phosphorus mines, look up phosphorus mines. In 2008, I probably said, go to your... this phone. Go to your Alta Vista search engine and put in, on your dial-up, put in Prius batteries. And so I just told her, the fact of the matter was that Prius probably is more dangerous to the environment than my diesel truck.
People are saying.
So that's the owner I was dealing with there. And not all Prius, well, I think all of them, yeah. How about a Buick?
I owned a Buick.
Yes, you did. You did the Enclave.
Actually, I had two. My first one and that one.
I'm going to say here the owner of the Buick is the demographics of 74. They sit lower in the seat. They drive in the left lane.
Sit lower in the seat.
They just sit lower in the seat.
You're talking about the Malibu crowd there.
No. Well, I'm not talking about like riding dirty. I'm talking about. I'm talking about just the older crowd that drives.
It's definitely.
And they're in the left lane, but they don't know it. It's not like they're in the left lane saying.
They had to pull I mean, they had to bring in all the people from Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
I mean,
why don't they just call
Buick people? Were like, okay, we're one now.
Oldsmobile Buick.
Oldsmobile.
Oldsmobile Buick.
Oldsmobile Buick.
No. So yeah, we agree on the Buick thing. How about Acura versus Honda, Lexus versus Toyota? So the point here is they're both the same. So the Acura and Honda are the same car.
Right. You know the
Lexus and Toyota are the same car.
Do you know where like Lexus and Honda came from? I mean, yeah, Lexus and Acura. So what happened was, as Toyota was progressing, they couldn't. At the time, they had Toyota, for example, had the
Cressida.
Cressida was the highest thing, but they could not get that car. They couldn't attract another higher end market to it, so they had to come up with an entirely different brand that brought in these people. That's where the LS400 and all that stuff came from.
But you're paying more basically for the same thing.
Well, I know, but
that Acura TLX is the Accord.
Our country is based off of
bullshit
off of brand. That's why you don't go to Lidl. You go to Lidl?
No, I don't go to Lidl. No, here's why I don't go to Lidl.
Come on.
The parking lot, because if I go there, I can only go into the right, and then if I go out, I can't come back the same way. I have to go all the way around. And you got to bring your own bags. And if I bring in plastic bags, everybody shuns me. It's like if I didn't have a mask on, I get
or
bag
scarf.
shamed. Bag shame, mask shame. Yeah, no, that's why I don't do it. So, come on.
I know. It doesn't make any sense.
And these are related to that.
But then Toyota came out with the Avalon, which the Avalon is the exact same thing as
Right.
the...
This is where you're going to cry. All right, so the Honda Ridgeline
Right.
and the Chevy Avalanche, both are trucks, kind of, but they're not, right? He had a Ridgeline, right?
Two.
That's right. He still has a Ridgeline. So I call these
unibody.
I call these
Unibody construction.
a sport utility truck, and my phrase for that is a suck. It's a suck, a sport utility truck, because it's not a truck. It's not a truck. It's not a sport.
Suck, but it's a sut.
No, because you use the term the CK, the UCK. I get to use UCK. But either you get a truck or you don't get a truck. You have to admit you can't like carry stuff in there, like
Carry all kinds of stuff in that thing.
shoes.
Which
So you may as well get like an SUV where it's covered. You can't
Right.
you can't haul
Listen,
can't
I'll
haul
tell you
4x4s.
I got the Honda Ridgeline because Greg was a goalie in hockey, and I needed something that had outdoor space for his hockey stuff. That's why I got the truck.
Pickup truck. It was not a truck. You got the suck.
It's a sut.
So again, they look edgy. They're edgy
Plus,
looking,
it had
but they're not
had-
practical.
car tires. Smooth riding.
The Lincoln Navigator versus Ford Expedition. Why are people paying?
Because it's all about prestige.
But you're
It
paying
just
like
is.
$20,000 more for that.
Hey, sometimes that's what happens. Why not buy, instead of a Ford Expedition, you could get what, like a Chevy Suburban?
Yeah, but you're paying more for the Chevy than you are the Ford.
Oh, what are you, a Ford guy?
No, I'm just
You know,
showing that.
creating an argument for Ford?
Okay, well, you want to talk about the Suburban? Here we go. The Escalade versus Suburban.
Tony Soprano. Oh,